Today, we're diving into one of the most beloved books of all time, Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. It's a beautiful, modern story about destiny and following your dreams that has inspired millions of people. But you know what's wild? The story behind the book is just as amazing as the journey on its pages. Can you believe it? This international bestseller was a complete and total flop when it first came out. As Coelho himself said, only a single person bought a copy in its first week. That's kind of wild, right? And it's so perfect because it totally mirrors the book's main idea, that the road to finding your treasure is almost always filled with challenges that make you question everything. But yeah, from that one book sold, The Alchemist just exploded into a global phenomenon. At its heart, it's the story of a young shepherd who actually dares to chase a dream. He goes on this epic journey from the fields of Spain all the way to the Egyptian desert. And while he's looking for a literal physical treasure, what he ends up finding is something so much more profound.
All right, so let's meet our hero. His name is Santiago. He's a shepherd in Andalusia in the south of Spain. But here's the thing. He didn't have to be a shepherd. He actually chose that life because he wanted to travel and see the world, which was a big break from what his parents had planned for him. Santiago's world is, well, beautifully simple. His best friends are his sheep. He's pretty sure they understand him. He sleeps under the stars. His days are all about finding good pasture and water, reading the books he carries, and thinking about a merchant's daughter he hopes to run into again. And for the most part, he's totally content. But then, something starts to shake up that contentment. He starts having a dream. This same dream, night after night. In it, a child tells him that if he goes to the Egyptian pyramids, he'll find a hidden treasure. It's this call to adventure that he just can't shake, and it makes his cozy life suddenly feel, well, like something's missing.
So this dream is really getting to him. He goes to see a dream interpreter, but honestly, he leaves even more confused than before. Then, while he's just sitting on a bench in town, this mysterious old man approaches him. He introduces himself as Melchizedek, the king of Salem. Now, this old king, he does not mess around with small talk. He looks right at Santiago and hits him with this incredibly deep question. He asks, "What is the world's greatest lie?" Just think about that for a second. What would you say? Melchizedek's answer is really the heart and soul of the entire book. He says the world's greatest lie is the idea that we just lose control, that our lives are run by fate. You know, the belief that we're just passengers with no real say in where we're going. The whole story is basically about proving that idea wrong. So to fight this great lie, the king introduces Santiago to the most important idea in the book, the personal legend. And he explains that it's not just a wish or a goal. No, it's your calling, your mission on Earth. It's that deep down desire that comes from the very soul of the universe. And this brings us to probably the most famous line from the entire book. The king promises Santiago that when you really, truly commit to your personal legend, you're not going it alone. The entire universe actually conspires to help you get there. It's such a powerful idea, not about luck, but about the power of your own focused intention. Before he goes, Melchizedek leaves Santiago with one last piece of wisdom, wrapped up in a little story. He talks about a boy who was sent to learn the secret of happiness from the wisest man in the world. The wise man hands the boy a spoon with 2 drops of oil in it and tells him, "Go check out my amazing palace, but don't spill the oil." So the boy comes back, but he didn't see any of the palace's wonders because he was so busy staring at the spoon. The wise man sends him back out. This time, the boy's totally amazed by everything he sees. But he spills the oil. And there it is, the big lesson. The secret to happiness is to see all the marvels of the world, but to never, ever forget your responsibilities. The drops of oil on your spoon. Santiago is completely inspired. He makes a massive, life-altering decision. He sells his entire flock of sheep, everything he's known for years, and uses the money to get to Africa. He leaves the familiar world behind and steps into the chaos of Tangier. So much for the universe conspiring to help him, huh? On his very first day in this new place, he trusts the guy who seems friendly, and the man robs him of every single cent. In a flash, his dream becomes an absolute nightmare. He's stranded, broke, and totally alone. He frantically searches his empty bag and finds the only things he has left: his jacket, a book, and 2 little stones the king had given him, Urim and Thummim. The black one means yes, the white one means no. They're supposed to help him read the omens, and right now, they're the last little thread connecting him to a quest that feels completely over. this is his absolute lowest point. But it is also the most important. He has a choice. He can see himself as a poor victim, get bitter, and believe that world's greatest lie, that fate is against him, or he can change his entire perspective. And he chooses to change it. He tells himself, I am an adventurer in quest of my treasure. And that mental shift changes everything. So, with a new sense of purpose, but still no money, his journey to the pyramids takes a bit of a detour. He finds a job cleaning glasses for a crystal merchant whose shop is tucked away on a quiet street. What he thinks is a temporary job turns into a year-long masterclass. And Santiago doesn't just work, he completely revolutionizes the place. He suggests building a display case, selling tea in the crystal glasses, all these ideas that turn the sleepy little shop into a huge success. He's living that parable of the spoon. He's taking care of the drops of oil, but he's still dreaming of the world's marvels. So this detour, this whole year, it wasn't a waste of time at all. It was essential. It was training. Santiago learns patience. He learns how to see signs from the universe in his daily life. He learns that enthusiasm is a language everyone understands. And most importantly, he sees in the merchant what happens when you let fear stop you from chasing your own personal legend. After almost a full year, Santiago has saved up a good amount of money. The day has finally come when he has to make another huge choice, one that will really define the rest of his journey, and what treasure really means. He now has enough money to go back to Spain and buy a flock of sheep twice the size of his old one. He could go back to his comfortable life, way more successful than before. The safe option is right there in front of him. But that dream of the pyramids, his personal legend, is still whispering to him from across the desert. And this just perfectly sums up the book's ultimate lesson, something Coelho even says himself in the foreword. The story isn't really about finding gold buried under the sand. It's about the journey itself. The treasure is the wisdom you gain, the person you become, the resilience you build along the way. That's the real alchemy, turning experience into wisdom. And so the book leaves us with the very same question the old king asked Santiago, but it turns it back on us. It forces us to look past that world's greatest lie, to listen for our own call to adventure, and to ask ourselves, what is it that I have always wanted to accomplish? What is my personal legend? And am I brave enough to start the journey?